What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast. Happy Hour Hoops. We are back. It's now 2024, and we're super excited. And guess who's also back, guys? Our presenting sponsor, WinStreakz. It's simple. You guys know the deal by now. It's our favorite sports app. It's the games that we already know you're watching. You pick teams to win games. You accumulate points based on your picks, and you win cash prizes. WinStreakz is 100% free to play. You never have to make a deposit. You get up to 5 picks per day. NFL, NHL, NCAA, both basketball and football. Only a few more football games left, but there's still a few games left here. And yeah, if you're watching these sports, you know you are because you're tuned into Happy Hour Hoops, or you're at least watching NBA. You can make 5 picks a day, 100 players. 100 players win cash prizes up to $2,000 every week. Contest runs every week from Monday to Sunday. Again, there is no deposits ever. 100% free to play. Refer your friends and win an additional 50% of what they win. And today, the giveaway is back, guys. We have another $50 game time gift card with your name on it. All you have to do is sign up for the WinStreakz app, use our code HHH when you do so, and you will be entered to win this $50 game gift card. Super easy, guys. Toss us a follow. Download the WinStreakz app. Use the code HHH. Like Steve always says, pretty impossible to forget our code. And yeah, you guys will be on your way. I don't know if you guys aren't playing WinStreakz, I don't know what you're doing. It's great. It's my favorite sports app going right now. Picking my favorite games, picking my favorite teams to win. Had a brutal loss with the Celtics last night. I think Steve, judging by that green, he might have had the Thunder.
Yeah, I might have. I didn't have much else, but I might have had the Thunder. Might have been the one thing I got right last night.
We're excited about 2024. We're excited to still be working with WinStreakz here, and we're excited to talk some hoops in the new year. Pretenders or contenders today. We're going to be going over some fringe teams. How are you guys feeling in the new year, though?
I'm feeling good, man. It's we're happy to be here. 2024 got some basketball. The Celtics are winless in 2024, which scares me a little bit, Donnie. Scares me a little bit. Mavs might be too, which scares me a little bit, but that's okay. It's okay. Long way to go. We're at the point now, right? January is really kind of where it becomes like all these games start to mean a little more. College football is pretty much over. The NFL is getting towards the postseason, which means it's Stevie's favorite time of the year. Officially, basketball season from about January till June is the official start and finish of basketball season. So sign me up. I can't wait. And like you said, Dunny, we're finally starting to see some true colors of these teams emerge.
Yep.
And that's kind of really, I think January is really the first month where teams start to emerge, and the surprise teams at the start either turn into actual playoff teams or fall off. So I'm excited to see. There's a lot of teams this year. I think a lot more than last year, where I'm still not 100% certain what direction they're going to go.
Yeah, this is the time of year where teams start having to deal with real injuries to start to figure out the rotations for squads who just don't have the win column going in the way they wanted it to. Yeah, Jake, before we get into the news and notes, how you doing in 2024, man? Where are you at with the Cavs in 2024?
Oh my God, the Cavs! I don't even know what to do with the Cavs at this point. I'm a big Sam Merrill guy now, so that's happened in my life.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, that's a good development. Jared Allen. The thing I've learned about the Cavs is Jared Allen and Evan Mobley cannot play together, because Jared Allen looks like an all-star again when Evan Mobley is out injured, and it's ridiculous. Had his career high over the holidays. Mm-hmm. Like he's been balling out. So I feel pretty mid on the Cavs at the moment. I can't lie, but the rest of the league, I'm feeling pretty good about. Like you said, we're kind of starting to figure out who these teams are. We're past Christmas, which always feels like a tentpole date. Where like, okay, now we know, like we have an identity of everybody. We can see it. And Donnie, I know you were upset about last night's game, but that felt like a heavyweight fight Like I was so excited to be able to just sit down and watch that game, and it delivered the whole way through. Like it was a close game. I think what was the biggest lead? Maybe OKC got out to like 11 or 13 on that little bit of a run, but it was close the whole way through. And that's the kind of, we have a lot of teams. It feels like I feel like we're at the moment now where we're at like the changing of the guard moment where the older teams are all like, they're not fully phased out yet, but they're starting to phase out. And we don't know who's kind of taking over yet. Like there's a bunch of different teams that you could tell me a lot of these teams are going to win the NBA title or be in the finals this year. And I'm like, all right, maybe. Like that's the way it seems this year. So yeah, I'm excited.
And there's some of those groups too that are like, you could say the opposite. You'd be like, this team might miss the play-in, and I would probably have the same reaction. And it could be even for the same team. So yeah, it's nuts. We're gonna kind of discuss all these fringe teams here, talk about the biggest news of the last couple of weeks and probably of the season, because we haven't really had any splash trades. It doesn't usually happen this early. But the Raptors trade OG Anunoby to the New York Knicks for RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, in a 2024 second round pick. I think the most shocking thing about this was just how it came out of nowhere. I mean, how many names have we heard discussed in Knicks trade rumors the last couple months, even weeks? Like more recently, the Levine and Donovan Mitchell buzz was going crazy. I do know that there was ties previously to OG Anunoby in New York, and they were trying to make that happen a bit ago, but then Toronto came out and said OG was untouchable, and now they go and make this deal. I was just shocked off the bat. Still even a little weird after seeing all three players play on their new teams, but where were you guys at when this went through? I mean, this caught me completely off guard.
I think much like RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, I was surprised where they said they were both kind of asleep when the deal happened and they woke up. They're like, what do you mean I'm traded? I'm happy for RJ Barrett. Let me first say that RJ Barrett gets to go home and play in Toronto now. I almost kind of felt like sometimes RJ Barrett just didn't like kind of the pressure of New York Knicks, and now he's going to be in Toronto, gets to play freely. And I think this guy's really, really talented. So I'm excited to see what he can do in Toronto. I hope the Raptors start quickly because I think he deserves to be a starter, especially on that Toronto roster. And, I think to the casual NBA fan, it almost kind of feels like, the Knicks gave up so much because the casuals don't really know OG Anunoby, but this is a great fit. This is a perfect fit. We've talked about this guy for years, but I mean, he is one of the best lockdown on-ball defenders in the NBA without question. He can shoot. He can still score when he needs to. Like if you need OG to get 20, but I think what this helps with the Knicks is it kind of gives them more of an identity now, right? Randall and Brunson are your go-to scorers, and you're going to have a bunch of dogs around them playing defense. And I kind of like how that's more of a Tibbs-built team than having Barrett and Quickley, because Barrett and Quickley were always kind of your two, weakest defenders when they were on the court. And to have, a move like this where RJ Barrett, I don't think we ever really saw the full potential of him in New York. I think we could kind of see him play freely back home in Toronto. I think it's a great move for him. Quickley, I had always argued probably has the talent to be a starter, but you're not going to start him over Brunson. He doesn't have really the defense, in my opinion, to be a consistent starter on a team like the Knicks. So I like this move for both teams. It's one of those deals where I think a lot of people thought the Knicks gave up too much, but in my mind, I really think this helps the Knicks identity. And I think a player like OG Anunoby is kind of that perfect fit where now maybe we'll see Randall like we saw Randall a couple years ago, right? Where he could step up to be the guy. I think the first game with OG, he had 39 points.
Yeah.
Like Julius Randle, like in that role, can be that guy. And then you got Jalen Brunson, who can't say enough good things about Jalen Brunson, but it doesn't feel like there's no more pressure at all, right? We would see RJ Barrett have like 16 points in the first half on like 6 of 8 shooting, and then barely play in the second half. Or we'd have games where RJ Barrett would be like 4 of 22 shooting, or vice versa. There'd be games where it's like, do we give RJ Barrett the ball late in the game? And they didn't really know how their rotations worked. I kind of think this move here gives the Knicks a much more identity as a team, and it'll help them going forward. Because like I said, OG Anunoby, in my opinion, is one of the best kind of, role-playing starters, if that makes sense. He's not going to be a guy who takes over most games. He's not going to be your number one, maybe not even number two option offensively, but he's someone you want out there for 35-plus minutes. He's someone out there where you're like, all right, we're playing a Giannis, we're playing a KD, we're playing a LeBron. That's who's guarding him, and I think that's the perfect fit for the Knicks because that's someone they really needed.
Yeah. Jake, are you a honorary Knicks fan now because of OG?
Oh, never.
Can you not stoop that far?
Never. This is one of the saddest basketball trades of my lifetime because I can't stand OG as hard anymore. But yeah, it's a great. Everything Steve said is correct, and especially the Randall piece is the biggest thing for me. Is OG is going to take a lot of that defensive responsibility that Randall and, like you said, Barrett kind of unsuccessfully did a lot of games. And I still think Barrett has a really high ceiling, and as the second guy to Scotty Barnes might be what his perfect, like, they kind of fit really well together for what they do as big scoring wings, and kind of, I think they could complement each other really well. Quickly just was like on and off of Tibbs' hot seat a lot of times too. Like, he played great, but then there would be times where
same with Barrett.
And same with Barrett too. Yeah, I guess there are times where Barrett's not starting or not playing late and stuff like that. But yeah, these are guys who are both in Tibbs's doghouse from time to time, and it just makes, like you said, complete sense for the identity of this team. And OG, just as a player, like, he's not a superstar, but he fits this role so perfectly for them that it might be like the impact on this roster is greater than the actual player, just because the fit is so well with New York City, and how the Knicks like their players to play, and Knicks fans, and everything else. Like, OG is going to embody everything of that. I think he's going to be a fan favorite there, much like Josh Hart kind of took over as a fan favorite last spring. So Knicks fans are going to love OG. He's going to help that team's ceiling. We'll talk about how much it helps their ceiling, but I really liked the move for both teams. I think that it's not a lot to give up. Is it really that much to give up two young guys who you don't play and don't want to play really in finishing minutes for a guy who's going to start? And if you're the Raptors, like, now you have these two pieces out of nowhere. They're probably going to keep blowing it up further, and they could be a dangerous young team in a couple months. So I think it's an A+ move for both teams, honestly.
Yeah, I tend to be in agreement that it's a win-win for both squads. And Steve, you mentioned how, like, the casuals might just not know how good OG Anunoby is, and I think that might be the fan or the watcher's fault. But at the same time, I think something that maybe someone who isn't super tuned into the NBA is also missing, that's not really their fault, is that the fact of the matter is Quickly was going to become a restricted free agent, or an unrestricted free agent, and I don't think the Knicks were going to pay him and Brunson.
They weren't going to pay him to come off the bench. There's no way, because he would have got a lot more money somewhere else.
Yes, exactly. So I think it was kind of, trying to get what they could at this time. Maybe the Raptors finally hinted that OG was available, and it came out after the trade, but this is a guy that the Knicks have been trying to get for a long time. So sometimes this just happens in sports where it seems out of the blue, but an opportunity presented itself, and you look down the road and didn't see RJ and Quickly as part of your future, even though your fans might have wanted it that way. Maybe Quickly and Barrett themselves might have wanted it that way. But ultimately, I think it's better for both teams. And my only thing that I kind of back some of the Knicks fans that are upset about this is there are people out there who think maybe you could have got a better package in return for RJ Barrett and Quickly. I would say half those people probably don't know how good OG Anunoby is. And then the other half of those people might be onto something. Like, I think maybe if you shop those two players around, maybe you throw in a first instead of a second, you can get someone who may be even a better fit. But I don't think OG, one, is a bad fit, like you guys were just talking about, and two, he just is that much better than people want to give him credit for. He really is.
Well, he does all the stuff that kind of goes unnoticed, right?
Yeah,
he kind of does all the
these
stuff
other two guys didn't do.
exactly. And that's the thing with OG, right? Like he can score 20 plus, and I have seen him have 30-point games, but that's never going to be like his primary objective when he's on the court night in, night out. He is a lockdown offender. He's going to get the steals. He's going to get the tip passes, the blocks, and he's going to take away your best player. And that's something that the Knicks really didn't have before this trades. And I think you're right, Dunny. That's just something that just goes unnoticed by a lot of people, where, everyone loves to read a box score and see, oh, look at the numbers this guy put up. But sometimes OG Anunoby can shoot 4 of 8 in a game, score 10 points, and might have been the most impactful player on the court that night because of his defense.
Yeah. Yeah, OG is different, man, and I think he's going to make improvements to this next team. They're actually going to be the first team we talk about when we get to contender or pretender, so they'll be a little quicker. But we just, we'll give a quick overview of what their future looks like with OG this season. Other bullet point of news is the Pistons won a game, guys.
Yeah,
they haven't yet in the new year, but they did win a game during our little holiday hiatus, and now they've lost 10 games for every game that they've won. So they are 3-30 at the moment, currently the worst record in the NBA. It was cool. Monty Williams said he almost cried. That's how emotional it was. I don't know if that's the best look for a coach who's 3-30 and was kind of supposed to be the start to the turnaround for this franchise, but Pistons won a game.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just a fact.
How many games do you think they win? 8 games this year?
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
8 games.
What's more improbable?
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna say
Warriors
that
not losing 8 or them winning 8.
I'll say I'm gonna go on record here. I think they go 11-71. So that means they got to go what? They got to go what? 8-41 to end the year.
Yeah,
8-41. I think they can go 8-41. 8-41. That's a win every 2.5 weeks. That's a win every 2.5. I think they can do that.
Bro, Pistons fans better hope they can do that.
Yeah, but well, you know what's funny too, because
Monty Williams better hope they can do that.
We'll take a lot of credit on a lot of the teams we were right on, and we were right on a lot of teams like, breaking out or having surprises. I'll be the first one to hand up. I completely whiffed. I thought the Pistons were going to kind of figure things out, and it's a lot worse than it was last year. I know Micah, he's so upset that the Pistons are struggling right now. But
great.
It's one of those I think a lot of people just kind of missed on, and it's funny because I look at the roster and it's like this roster doesn't seem worse than last year's. But man, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Pistons. But I'll give them 8-41. That's 11-71 or 11-71 on the year. I think they can do that. I think they can get to 11 wins. However, where do we think their next one is, Donnie? Because they're at the Jazz. That could go either way, but the Jazz, they're favored by 9 points tonight. Then at the Warriors. Not winning that. At the Nuggets, that game's over in the second quarter. Home against the Kings. Kings did lose at home to the Hornets last night. So maybe home against the Spurs. Is that like a pride game for the Pistons? Like,
that is the grossest game you will ever see on Wednesday, January 10th. That is bad. They have a nice stretch. I think
they do.
They'll get their next win in this Spurs Rockets Pistons stretch here from January 10th to January 15th. You can the closest thing to a sure thing with this group in these Pistons. I think I can say that they'll get a win in one of those 3 games.
I think they could beat the Wizards.
Yeah,
I think they could beat the Wizards.
On a Monday at 3 p.m.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll kill the Wizards. They'll blow them out. That's their next win right there. Pistons over the Wizards.
But why is this game at 3 p.m.? Am I missing something?
I have no idea. When do they play the Bulls? That's true. The Bulls lost by 80, it felt like, to the 76ers. Actually, no. They made it – the score looked respectable because, shout out JBC. I know you're watching. But I was watching The Bulls Sixers game last night, guys. The Bulls went on like a 20-0 run or something when it was all the scrubs playing at the end and made the game look like it was an 11-point game. No starter played the fourth. Don't try to fool us there, Chicago. Javon Carter can only hide your box score for so long, all right? But like I'm just shocked with the Pistons, to be honest with you. Like I really am. I did not see this coming. I know
because the individuals on the team are still thriving. Like Jalen Duren is balling. Every other night he has 14 and 13, 12 rebounds.
Cade's been great.
Cade played unbelievable in that game they almost pulled out against the Celtics, that overtime game.
Yeah. Like, Bogdanovich comes back, scores 20 a night. Like,
yeah.
I don't get
Jaden Ivey's had spots here. I think Jaden Ivey and Monty Williams don't get along because something weird has been going on this whole year with
and they got to play
a
Asor Thompson.
Yeah.
So Asor Thompson looks like the third best rookie for the first like month and a half. Bogdanovich comes back, and now you're only playing Thompson like 15 minutes a night.
And they've come out and said that they won't trade Bogdanovich too, which I think is crazy because I'm sure there's going to be so many contenders at the deadline who want a guy like that. And I saw a quote that they say they're trying to keep good assets around this team. It's like, I understand he's a good asset, but you have a bunch of young guys who need minutes to grow and flourish, and you're just
playing Marvin Bagley.
Yeah,
we know what he is at this point.
Yeah,
what are we doing here? Why is Marvin Bagley playing every night?
You got to be playing the guys who are proven talent and young and need the reps, man.
And I agree with Ivy too. What the chat said, like Ivy, like why are you not playing this guy like significant minutes every single night? Like we saw the potential Ivy had. We saw it in spurts last year. Guys, Ivy has started 13 of 29 games he's played this year. That is so unacceptable for a player like that.
Yeah, that's bad,
it makes no. What do you expect is going to happen? So I don't want to call for a man's job this early, but it seems like a coaching problem.
Oh, he's getting fired.
It seems like it doesn't. It seem like
how are they going to fire? They paid him $1 billion.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the most expensive contract ever.
Yeah, but it seems like the clear issue here is coaching.
About the bag Monty
not know how to treat these young players. I don't get it, man.
That's so bad. Yeah, maybe he was good. Maybe he was a good coach because he had Devin Booker
or Chris Paul.
Yeah.
While I was just relishing in this whole great conversation, there are some stats that they could be history making this year. The worst team in NBA history was 9-73. It was the 1973 Philadelphia 76ers. All they got to do is get to 10 wins in that case. 10 wins.
I gave them 11. You remember, I gave them 11.
And they would
now,
be good.
Now I'm rooting for them to not
the
get
2016 76ers. The famous 2016 76ers were 10-72. Wow, so 11 games, they would at least be better than that team.
They were only a 10-win team.
Only a 10-win team. The other recent really bad teams in 2010, the New Jersey Nets were 12-70.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else. The 2010s, Milwaukee in 2014, 15-67. But yeah, this is pretty historic levels of bad. The point differential here.
I was just going to bring that up. It's
the all-time worst point differential. The 1992 Dallas Mavericks were minus 1,246 points. So how many games are we in here? They're 3-30.
33
yeah.
games.
33 games. So they're doing okay. They're ahead of pace right now, but they're minus 350 on the season. So 1,000 points, 1,000 points in 50 games. I don't know if it's unheard of. They get some blowouts late.
So they're like 11 and like a third points per game. So what do you look at that? Like 50 more games.
It's gonna be close.
Yeah, they'll be in 900 something. 900, so they got to get blown out. Losing by 70 to the Nuggets in a couple weeks isn't gonna help them.
Man, yeah, there's I was gonna say there's brighter days ahead for the Pistons, but I don't even know if that's true.
It might get worse before it gets better. They don't have the worst net rating in the NBA though. The Spurs have the worst net rating in the NBA.
I was gonna say it has to be the Spurs. They've only won 5 games.
They're 5-28.
Which I was dead wrong about them.
Who has more wins, the Spurs or the Pistons?
Spurs.
Yeah, they have to. If you have if the Spurs don't end up having more wins than the Pistons, then
that's the thing is I feel like the Spurs don't want to have wins, and the Pistons were like trying to win this year, and they're just.
I think out of the Spurs, like 5 wins, Wemby's won like 4 of them.
Yeah.
So they at least have that. If you're the Pistons, though, do you think about listening to offers for Cade?
No, not Cade. Anybody else?
Anybody else? You still wouldn't like it, I mean, if it's bad, I
this
mean,
is a weak draft.
Year.
Dude, that's the thing, though.
Well, I'm not saying just like a pick or something this year. I'm saying like if you can get a farm for Cade, do you entertain it? Because it doesn't look like this team's going to win a lot of games next year the way they're set up.
No.
Trade Cade to San Antonio.
What
would the Spurs give up though? That's the thing.
And what is
why would the Spurs do?
You're selling really low on Cade, not because of how he's playing, but because your team is so terrible. And like everybody's not there. No one's gonna try to give you like, I don't know, 110 cents on the dollar for Cade. But you might have I mean, if you just want to tear it down, like maybe these players all just hate Monty Williams. And
that's crazy though. They said they aren't going to try to trade Bogdanovich. Why?
Yeah, I mean,
that's wild.
They might get to a point where it's so bad that they will change that sentiment, but that's it's not good.
All the picks. I don't know if that can get it done.
I
don't think that gets it done. I mean, that's optimistic. I don't know.
I think I'm still taking the Cade side.
Yeah, you could do Keldon 12 picks. I'll take Cade on the Spurs. Cade and Wemby would be a dangerous combo. But that's the thing. It's like if it gets bad, where let's say they go on another like 15-game losing streak or something, and next thing you look up, the Pistons are like
break their own record.
Yeah, they're like 4-50. It's like, maybe we should see what we can get for Cade, because he's just gonna rot here and he's just not gonna want to stay here at that point.
Yeah. I think only time will tell for that, but like I think there definitely is a spot where they get so bad that like and we just talked about it, like they are pretty stuck with money. It seems like it's almost like it would look more foolish if they fired Monty than traded Cade, which is crazy to say, but like they don't have all that money tied up into Cade.
Right,
they have all that money tied up into Monty.
Right.
Who are they building around then if they trade Cade? Because they don't like Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
They got Mark.
Jalen Duran.
Good luck.
I mean, he's so good, but like he's not a guy you build around. Like
he's a piece.
It would all depend on what they got in return. But
who's getting way too many minutes? Alec Burks is getting way too many minutes.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys who's at least scores for him, though.
I know, but this is
Killian Hayes needs to get.
Doesn't it just feel like that?
He's one of the worst players I think I've ever seen.
He might be the worst player. Like
Alec Burks is like the guy I think of when it's guy that shouldn't be playing over a young guy. Like
agreed.
Nothing,
because I feel like he's so old.
It's got to be like 30, 31.
Yeah, I bet it is only that, and I feel like
32.
It's 32.
32. Okay.
1
year off.
So he's. I mean, but he's getting like last night, I think or the other night, whatever it was, he had like 22, 23 minutes or something, and I'm like. Yeah, he really just might hate Cade. Maybe this is it in the chat here.
They're
maybe
playing Isaiah
it's a
Stewart, Marvin Bagley, Kevin Knox. What are you doing? Yeah, you have so many young guys. Just see what you can get.
Kevin Knox being on Detroit is also just so funny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
There's no way Ivy's gonna get Ivy. They don't even want to play him. Like that's the thing is like they don't even know. We don't even know what they think.
That has to be a Monty thing, though, man. Because like I feel like Ivy's getting close to 30 minutes on any other team. At least that's how I view it.
The issue with Ivy has been his
report
defense
wrong,
for a year and a half. So if Monty is like trying to instill defense,
but here's the thing:
you can't
like
do it by
when
you sit exactly.
I get that if you're a contending team and it's a young, exciting player, like he's going to come off the bench and play 20, 25 minutes because he's not built for the rotation yet. Got to work on the defense. You are 3-30. Play your young players. And you want to talk about, we need defensive help? You drafted it in Asur Thompson. And now you just don't play him because Bogdanovich is back and you got to start Marvin Bagley and Isaiah Stewart? What are they doing for this team right now? Nothing. Play your young guys and just see what you can get or let them develop. How's the best way for a young player to develop is to play in game. Ivy and Thompson sitting on the bench is not helping the future of this team.
No,
I don't understand the logic there. If it's one thing, if this is a contending team and it's like, all right, Jaden Ivey's going to come off the bench in spurts because, kind of be a defensive liability, but he can have exciting plays. He can get hot, kind of like, what the Brooklyn Nets do with Cam Thomas a little bit. The Pacers with Ben Mathurin, like guys like this, where it's like still got to work in the defense, but we know what he can do when he's playing at full go. But my goodness, I mean, you are 3-30. You're not going anywhere. You're not winning shit. Just play your young guys. See what they could get. Let them develop. Asur Thompson looked like the third best rookie. And now he plays 12 minutes a night because Bogdanovich is back and's got to shoot 20 times.
Yeah, this
Alec Burks over Ivy. I don't.
It really seems like Monty might just be in over his head at this point. Like I think
no sense.
I think he really thought like maybe the same things as us. Like he probably was like, wow, I got a squad. Like I don't think he had crazy expectations, but he probably they're going to be like a player.
Well, you don't, and the organization too. You don't pay a coach that kind of money if you don't think this team's competing for the playoffs.
Right.
You're thinking the coach can get him to the next level.
Yeah,
that's what we were thinking in the off season. Like we see the vision, we see the potential, the talent of these guys. No one can look at me straight in the face and say Jaden Ivey's not a talented basketball player. Jalen Durant's not a talented basketball player. Cade Cunningham's not a talented basketball player. If you showed me this roster on paper, like I'm like, all right, this is probably 30-win team.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, I think that's
3-30. 3-30. It's a disgrace how this team's being handled. Disgrace.
My selfish thoughts have started to kick in though, and I'm just super excited for the Celtics to acquire Isaiah Stewart at the trade deadline.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason Bagley and Stewart are playing minutes at this point is they're trading those guys. Apparently Bogdanovich is the team leader, so he's untouchable.
Yeah, it's.
I'll give you a.
I hope that was just
for Marvin Bagley.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not getting much in return for Bagley, I don't think. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if you're a Pistons fan and you listen to Happy Hour Hoops, honestly, I'm sorry, but it seems like all those things.
I'm not mad at the Pistons. I'm not mad at the Pistons as a team.
You know what Pistons fans can do? You can go on WinStreakz and click on the team that's playing Detroit every night and get some free points.
Get 4 pay. It's free. It's a free 4 points.
And your win percentage will go up. You just pick the opposing team of the Pistons and you have free points. That is my advice to Pistons fans at the moment. And maybe, actually, I was going to say buy a Cade jersey, but Cade might be part of the solution in trading him. So
buy an Alec Burks jersey. He'll be there the longest, it feels
like. Apparently Bogdanovich is sticking around. So
makes no sense.
Buy a Bogdanovich jersey. Yeah.
The one guy who has trade value right now, I will keep him.
You get lots
he
of
wants to play for this team.
I'm sure. But moving right along, last two notes quick. Gary Payton II will miss several weeks with a hamstring strain. Sucks. Just a super competitor, high motor guy that just, he's basketball is better when you're watching and he's out there. So that's tough blow. And then Embiid made his return after missing a couple weeks. Obviously missed Christmas Day and then a couple games after that as well. Right back where he left off. I mean, Embiid is undoubtedly at the top of the MVP conversation right now with our guy Jokic again, SGA sprinkled in there. So Embiid just picked up right where he left off, and the Sixers are still churning. They're going to be one of the teams we talk about here in the contenders or pretenders as well. And let's just hop right into that. We'll finish our discussion on the Knicks because we already started with the OG trade. 18-15 on the season thus far. They just acquired OG like we talked about, and since acquiring him, they are now 1-0. Yeah, I mean, we kind of said what we think. I don't know if this trade makes the Knicks contenders. I think it makes them better for this year. And maybe a little more scary in the playoffs, but I don't think I'm ready to say that the Knicks are contenders. I really. And I'm going to start by saying this. It's Julius Randle for me, why I think they are not. I can't see it. The playoffs, what he did in the playoffs last year and other times that he's been in big moments like that, it's very hard to get out of my brain because it's kind of like James Harden recently in the playoffs. It's like that's what I have of memory of watching this guy play. I don't think Tibbs is a good enough, I don't think he's a world beater coach where he's putting the team over the next level himself. And then Brunson, he's been unbelievable. He's been proving people wrong. I don't think, he's enough to just have Randall and OG next to him for them to be a legit contender. So, all that said about Randall, he's gonna have these impressive games like he did the other night. I think he's one of the best in the NBA, and I just noticed this recently. He is one of the best players in the NBA at finishing in traffic and putting the ball off the glass in like impossible spots and still having it go in the hoop. So like I think Randall can be incredible, but I just there's a taste, there's a smell to this Knicks team, and it just doesn't taste or smell like contender to me.
So, Dunny, just real quick, for a contender, are we saying contender is this team can win the ship, or contender like they can win a couple playoff series? Because I think there's that's pretty big difference there, right?
Yeah, I would say win. It doesn't have to be make it to the NBA Finals or even win the NBA Finals, but I think win a series or two is what I'd consider contender for this.
I'm probably going to go.
I don't think they could win 2 series. Maybe the first round, depending on matchup. But
I'm going to go contender here with the Knicks, just for the simple fact that I think the Knicks are better today than they were before. And if we look at the Knicks before, this is a team that we've already seen in the playoffs. We've already seen, play some tough series. I will not, because I love Micah here, I will not talk about the Knicks Cavs from last year. I won't do it. I refuse to do it. I will refuse to talk about how they bullied them and just stole their lunch money the entire series. I refuse to do that.
The after effects have been felt for 3 months.
Yeah, and the Cavs have never recovered since. The Knicks laid out the blueprint how to beat the Cavs. They've never recovered since. I won't talk about that. But what I will say is I think this Knicks team is better today than they were before. And like I said, from when we talked about it in the news and notes, is that I just think OG Anunoby's a better fit. And this is a team now that I think is going to get back to that, gritty defensive style where maybe Randall can, be that guy. But you talked about Randall's playoff struggles, Dunny. And the one thing that does kind of concern me a little bit, right, is RJ Barrett was kind of like their top playoff performer in a decent amount of games last year, and he's no longer there. But I don't think Randall has to be their go-to guy in the playoffs, because I think Jalen Brunson can be. And we've seen Jalen Brunson step up in these moments before, and now he's got another whole year under his belt, right? A whole another year in New York, another year as being the guy. And I think Brunson's going to be fine stepping up in that role. I think this Knicks team is better than they were, before. We're also forgetting, too, that they're playing with Hartenstein right now, and I'm not saying he's bad, but they're missing Mitchell Robinson. And that's another guy.
Sim.
Yeah. And then another guy plays fantastic defense for him and just kind of fits, the, I guess, culture they want to build here for the Knicks. So I think they're, a slight contender. I think they're a team that could probably win their first playoff series, and they can give fits to probably a team like Milwaukee. I don't think Boston, because I think Boston would just shoot them out of the gym. A team like Philly, even Miami, where it's like, I think
Miami's.
I think
that'd be a good series.
I think that's a good series for the Knicks. Now, based on their seed, we'll see who they even play at that point. But unless a team can shoot the Knicks out of the gym, which I know Milwaukee can score at times like that, but I think this team's better than they were last year, and they were better than they were the year before. So I think this Knicks team is like contender. I like the trade. I like the direction they're going. We just need Randall to, not become a shell of himself in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But that's what Brunson's there for, because I think he'll do the opposite. Brunson's a big game player, man. He's just one of those guys who just steps up in those big games. Any nationally televised game, any one of those, big spots, always feels like Brunson has a good game.
Going against other stars.
Yep.
All of it.
Yeah. If you look at them right now in the East, there's 5 teams within a half game of each other, or a game of each other: Miami, Orlando, Indiana, Cleveland, and the Knicks. Mm-hmm. I think with this trade, they have the highest ceiling out of all those teams.
I agree.
And they have I think the best roster out of all those teams. We're going to talk about one of these teams later on. But I really am, and this is where the OG Anunoby factor kicks in, because now the Knicks, I'm just gonna be like, oh man, the Knicks, like, this is a nice team. They got OG, but it's a guys. Anything that can make Julius Randle's job easier is a win for the Knicks. Like you said, this roster is better set because of that. Like you guys have been talking about, like you were just mentioning, Steve. They're a contender in my eyes, because I think that they're at least the 4th place team in the East, and I would love to see these matchups against the Bucks and the Sixers now, when they can be more physical with them. The Celtics, I don't know if anybody can do anything with, but
I think that the Knicks will make another move. So maybe this doesn't matter to bring up, and they might not, but I just think that they probably should and probably are going to. But does the Knicks bench worry you guys at all after this trade?
They got
the benches don't worry me until after the deadline, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because
well,
I think
that's
there's
kind
a
of what I'm
lot.
saying. Like, if
there's
they don't
always
make a
moving
move.
parts, and if you look at previous years, Donnie, especially last year, a lot of the contending playoff teams, they made moves for the bench.
They went out and
the
got
past
a guy,
couple of years. So I can't right now. Yeah, I don't think the Knicks have the strongest bench in the league. I'll be the first to admit it, especially losing quickly coming off the bench is huge. But I would say I'm not going to really comment on the bench or be overly concerned, I guess, about a team's depth until after the deadline. Because I think,
that's fair. I do think they're going to make a move. I think they'd be stupid not to. But right now it is like OG, Brunson, Randall, that's all great. You know, they have, other guys like Grimes, and DiVincenzo has been stepping up lately. But it is kind of like when you thought about the Knicks bench before, if Quickly wasn't getting the start, which I thought he should have more often than not, but you could always count on Quickly coming in and like at least being the threat to give you 20 off the bench. I don't know if they have a guy, and like you don't need a guy like that, but it is
right
when you lose all that offense. It's like, okay, well,
they think Grimes can do that. Whether he can or not, we'll see. But they think that he can do that.
I think he's a great catch and shoot guy. But yeah, I think time will tell with Grimes.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? We've only seen one game of this new Knicks team. We could just see a whole new kind of like bench rotation or certain guys emerge. You see it all the time in the NBA where it'll be like 2 weeks. You're like, why is this guy's name like just keep popping up in my head? You look it up and you're like, wow, this guy's getting good minutes. You saw it with the Warriors this year. They had a ton of injuries. Brandon Podziemski steps up, and next thing you know, he's in the rotation. He's a viable part of like their offense. Like there's just guys that will emerge like that. And I think now, especially for the Knicks, after losing quickly, and honestly, sometimes Tibbs treats RJ Barrett as a bench guy in the second half. But we're going to see other guys emerge, and I think that's you got to have a larger sample size before you really have to, I guess, get overly worried about team's depth going into the playoffs. Because also, too, the benches shrink, right? You're no longer playing 10, 11 guys every night. It's 7, 8, sometimes 9 if you're crazy. But most parts, 7, 8-man rotations.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And, I don't want to be too harsh on them. Like, their first win with this new look Knicks team was against the next team we're going to talk about. And it was impressive as hell. Like, they beat the Timberwolves, who have looked kind of immortal at some points this year. So the Wolves 24-8, still the best team in the Western Conference. This one's pretty easy for me. I don't think there's anything until this point that leads me to say that they're not a contender, because in years past with before Ant was Ant of this year, and the T-Wolves went out and traded for Gobert, which I still think is one of the worst trades ever.
Yeah.
And when even like looking past that, or even further into the past when Gobert was with Utah and Donovan Mitchell, just Gobert alone worried me about the playoffs. But Gobert kind of being hidden by both Cat and Ant, and like him literally just having to rim protect. And I think he's also playing some of the better ball in the last couple of years. The Gobert factor in the playoff doesn't worry me as much when you have a guy like Ant who is playing this incredible. I think they have the best record in the West. I'd probably say they're the second best team overall in the West. I'll still give the nod to Denver there, but I mean, there's
entered the chat.
Yeah, true. I know it's the most improbable top 3 in the Western Conference. Obviously not the Nuggets, but like going into this year, I mean, I don't know. You poll 100 NBA fans. I think like 3% of them would probably have those 3 in their top 3. But yeah, Minnesota. All that to say, Minnesota's pretty easy for me. I think they're a contender.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would be in that group of someone who would pull all 3 in the top 3. I would have had Thunder. I wouldn't have had the T-Wolves. You know how down I was on this team coming in.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, Dunny. Like Ant-Man has really stepped up big time this year. You're right. Gobert has been honestly fantastic on defense this year. He
it
really
pains me to say
they have by far the best defense in the NBA so far this year. And you look at not just Gobert too, but a guy like McDaniels is another great defender.
Good, bro.
He's so good.
Naz
Reid coming off the bench,
God.
another one, great defender, but can score if he needs to. And this seems like a pretty good team. It'll be curious because I think we could see this team go one or two directions, right? I'm going to call them a contender, but we could see them go one or two directions where they get, maybe keep the 1 seed, but get just a war in the first round because no one's like really stepping up. And it's like, oh, Gobert's liability on defense in the playoffs again because of how teams are playing him. And it's one of those things. Or we could have it go the other way where it's like, all right, this is by far the best defensive team. They've been the best defensive team all year. And now Anthony Edwards is becoming the superstar right in front of our eyes in the playoffs. And if you asked me at the start of the season, I've been like, oh, it's absolutely going to be option A. I'm leaning toward Anthony Edwards stepping up into that guy in the playoffs and the defense carrying him. Because this defense, man, it's just tough. I've watched a lot of Timberwolves games this year, and they're slowing down everyone. If you want to beat the Timberwolves this year, you got to beat them like 105 to like 100. You're not scoring 120 plus on this team. And in today's NBA, everyone's trying to score 120 plus every night. Everyone pretty much does most nights. You're not doing it against this team. So for the defense alone, I'll go contender.
I just can't get there yet.
I
just can't get there yet.
Fair enough.
I like it, dude.
It's the fact that you mentioned if we're talking about winning or getting into a conference final, an NBA final, if that what you brought up the 1 seed that they play a team with a matchup and whatever is going on with Gobert, who is the biggest reason that I'm saying this because we've seen Rudy Gobert win Defensive Player of the Year in years past
and then become a pumpkin.
Yes,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, without the play-in, they're playing the Phoenix Suns.
I was gonna say it if you weren't gonna, Jake. I was just about to say the same thing, bro.
Like,
damn,
I'm not picking the Suns. Yeah, I'm not picking the Timberwolves.
Dude, that would be like an even odds if it came out like tournament.
Yeah.
Like the round odds would be like Suns plus 105.
A 1 seed versus 8 seed, and like maybe even the Suns favored in that series.
That wouldn't be crazy.
No, not at all. But there's a lot like the West is just so strong that the 8 seed is going to end up being a good. The other teams around the 8 seed, the Mavs are the 7 seed right now. The Pelicans are the 6 seed. The Lakers are the 10 seed. The Warriors are the 11 seed. Like these are teams that like if you put them in a series against the Wolves, like it's going to be interesting. Just like and the odds will definitely be interesting. Now the Warriors and Lakers, I don't know. Like those and the Rockets are 9th right now. I don't know.
I was gonna say the Rockets are the only team that I think the Wolves in that area right now.
4-0 them. I love the Rockets, but they would match up terribly.
Right. I agree. But like Warriors, Lakers, like you just like I think Wolves would obviously still be favored in that series if playoffs started right now. Obviously, we're a long ways away. But I think like the experience too, like I would kind of favor the Lakers or Warriors if I'm looking at either of those teams playing Minnesota in the first round.
I don't think Warriors I would. Because I don't think Warriors have any type of size. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. But Lakers, Lakers, AD, the way he's been playing lately, I don't know. It's they're such a tough one. I just have to give it to him, man. Like they've every time I've watched this year, they've impressed me. Even Cat, like.
They're awesome. Don't get me wrong.
I think Cat is finally comfortable knowing he is the second option.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer any pressure anymore, Cat. It's like, all right, Anthony Edwards is our guy. And I when I'm hot, I'll get mine. And I think it's really helped this game. Also, too, like Cat's defense has been so much better. So much better this year with Gobert there.
Yeah, I think Anthony Edwards, I think coaching, I think the organization as a whole is just holding guys accountable. And I think if you have that many elite defenders on one team, or at least guys that are willing to get dirty on defense, it's one of the biggest cliches in sports, but that's contagious. That type of behavior, that type of like want to, and desire to win. And especially, in a sport like basketball where it's so intimate. There's only 5 guys out there with you at a time. If 3 out of the 5 guys are buying in, you might as well buy in also. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Cat on defense. And so Wolves could be a contender. They're at the top of the West still, and we'll see moving down the road. I mean, Rudy in the playoffs with this group is definitely going to be must watch just to see how that all plays out. Another team who this one's more tough for me, the Philadelphia 76ers. It's kind of similar, I guess. Obviously, a way different scale, but like Embiid's never showed it in the playoffs. He's never made it to the contender feat. He's never gotten to a point in the playoffs where we're impressed. They collapsed against my Celtics last year, 23-10 right now. They're the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, 3 seed. I'm gonna give it to them. I think the Sixers are a contender. I think them trading Harden was the right move. I think Maxi's making all the right strides, and I think they got some good veteran, tough bench players that could help them come playoff time. It's not an easy contender for me, but I do think Phillies, I have to have them as a contender right now.
Yeah, I'm reluctantly probably going to put them there with you as well. I think, kind of addition by subtraction. You lose James Harden, Tyrese Maxey steps up into another star for you. And I kind of like the way they've built around this team so far. Kelly Oubre's actually been playing pretty solid. Tobias Harris is having a really nice year. And like I said, Maxey now being the second option has really blossomed into a star of his own. And right now, it's hard to argue that there's a better player in the NBA right now than Joel Embiid. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough to make that argument. His playmaking ability this year has been sensational. He's just so dominant. I mean, there's very few players in the NBA that can even slow him down one-on-one in the paint. I got to go contender here. I think they're still going to try to add another piece, maybe a couple bench roles, depth roles. We'll see some more consistent scoring because they did lose some of those guys this offseason. But it's hard not to put the Sixers as a contender. Also, too, the 76ers have the best point differential in the NBA on a point-per-game basis, which that was surprising to me when I watched it. So when they're beating teams, they're beating teams.
Yeah.
And, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. But the way they're playing this year, it just feels a little different than previous years. However, I'll tell you what, though, if they get matched up against Boston, I'm never taking Philly there. They get matched up against Miami, I'm probably not taking Philly there either because Bam's one of the few who can slow down Embiid. So I'm calling them a contender, but I also think, too, maybe Milwaukee would be a great series, but I don't know what else they need to add because I think Embiid is playing as good as we've seen. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll go contender, but there's still a few other teams in the East I'm taking in a series over Philly.
No, go ahead, Jake. I'll finish up with this thought, but I want to hear what you have to say.
I think I need to put you two both on notice. I think this is the Sixers team that's going to do it, bro. I think they're going to the finals. That's where I'm at in my new year.
Wow.
You got to remember the difference of everything you just said about the teams that collapsed. Their head coach was Doc Rivers. Yeah. This team's head coach is Nick Nurse, who I would say is a 100% upgrade as a head coach, especially after the last couple of years, and also getting rid of James Harden. Obviously, we were all proponents of that. Get rid of James, get him out of there. Maxey's flourishing, but that's why you're seeing an Oubre and a Harris be as effective as they are. It's because of Nick Nurse. They wouldn't be doing this with Doc Rivers. No way. He knows how to weaponize guys, and I think they will add pieces to this team. And it feels like a different vibe around there. It feels like we're not getting the Sixers drama that we would have in the years past, even without Harden. There was always some shit going on with the Sixers with Doc around, and Doc had his issues with everybody on that roster one way or another. Had beef with Embiid, had beef with Daryl, had beef with Simmons, clearly. It just feels like they're just kind of more focused on the task. Maxey is a clear all-star level player now, which changes the trajectory of them. And I just think this East, like, as much as I love the Celtics and Bucks, and I still would probably actually think the Celtics are going to go to the finals or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if the Celtics stay healthy. If anyone in the East,
if anybody can touch them, because they're just torching teams. Like, it doesn't feel like they're taking a lot of things seriously right now and cruising. But this Sixers team feels like a much different team than the ones that have collapsed in the years past. Okay. So I'm just putting it on notes. I'm taking the Sixers extremely seriously this year. Okay. And it's the Nick Nurse respect thing as much as anything else.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I need
the Nick Nurse thing is super good point.
I need that 2-3 Milwaukee, Philly, Eastern Conference semifinals.
Oh my God.
I need that.
It'd be so good, man. It'd be such a good series. I was the last thing I was gonna say, and yeah, I actually love that they brought in guys like Oubre. He was one of the guys I was referring to. Mm-hmm. Like, I think they've done a lot of good things, and it is funny, and you kind of like alluded to it, Jake. Like, in years past, like even last year, like we probably already heard so many bullshit stories about the Sixers to this point last year. It's like they're quietly 23-10. And it's because, like, we're expecting this because Harden's gone and Embiid's playing unbelievable basketball. And at the same time, there's no shit stories coming out of their media. There's no Harden drama. There's no Doc mad at someone. Focus. There's no Embiid having to throw shade at his teammates in press conferences because he has no other choice because he can't get through to them. It's just like they're just winning and they're just good. Yeah. And that's the consensus of the 76ers at this moment. So we all three of us have the 76ers as contenders. This one probably won't be as easy. The Memphis Grizzlies, they've looked pretty good since Ja came back, still dropping some games here and there. The first Marcus Smart, Ja Morant game that they played together was electric. Honestly, just like the first 3 games since or once Ja returned were amazing. He was just stuffing the stat sheet like we knew he would. I don't know where I'm at with Memphis. I think just staring at this record right now and seeing the problems they had without Ja are kind of having me lean towards pretender, just because like the sample size we have so far, it's really tough to get past all that we've seen this season. Even with Ja, I think I have to hold them in a pretender right now.
Yeah, I'm with you, Donnie. They're 2-3, I think, since Ja's been back, and they have played a tough schedule. I'm not going to say they haven't played a tough schedule since Ja's been back, but I just don't think they can make up enough ground in the Western Conference the way it is right now. We look at the Western Conference; it's so loaded. And Memphis right now is still 5.5 just out of the play-in. And the teams they're chasing are teams I don't think are going away anytime soon. Lakers, Suns, Mavs, Pelicans, maybe the Rockets. But for the most part, it's like I don't know if they're going to be able to catch up. I know 5.5, you got the whole season to catch it. It can happen, and I think this team would be dangerous if they were able to sneak into the play-in. But I think this team has its own issues, and I think lack of depth is a big one right now. Memphis had more injuries in the offseason or start of the season than really anyone right now. And I don't want to say like they're one injury away from being bad again, but they really are, even if it's not Ja, if it's someone else. So I don't see the depth here. I think Ja is, appointment television every single time. You got to watch this guy. He's so much fun to watch. But I don't think they're going to get there. I will say, though, this is not a team you want to see in the play-in or in the first round. If you're a higher seeded team, it's just because of Ja's potential to just kind of take over games like he did in his debut against the Pelicans. I would go pretender, though. Bulls would beat Grizzlies on a 7-game series. Bulls would have to have a 50-point lead in every game, JBC. And maybe that'll happen.
Listen, Coach.
Yeah, that's what I agree, Eric. That's what I'm saying. It's like I think they're a dangerous team if they get there. I just don't think they will. I think they got their own problems. I think depth's an issue. And I also think the Western Conference is just good. There's just too many good teams for them to catch.
I don't know. Would you rather have Kobe White or Ja Morant? The debate could be
the way Kobe White's playing right now. I'll tell you what.
Could be made.
Tell you what, the way Kobe White's playing right now, don't JBC don't listen to this part, but I could see the Bulls, fully blow it up. Kobe White could go somewhere fun.
Just build around
Kobe White could go somewhere fun.
Oh no, you're sending him somewhere.
Oh yeah, no, you're sending.
I thought you were blowing it up around Kobe.
If you're the Chicago Bulls, you're. I told JBC I would not say this on the episode, but I'm going to say it. So I'm sorry, JBC. If you're the Chicago Bulls, you're blowing it up and you're building around Dalen Terry and his 12% 3-point percentage. All right, that's what you're doing if you're Chicago Bulls.
Yes,
I love that. I said I wasn't gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it.
JVC does not agree.
That's honestly, Steve. The way you just did that was like Ja with the gun celebrations, man. He just as soon as he got back, just did one after a dunk. It's at this point, it's like he served his suspension. I mean, unless he does something glaring off the court, I don't really care about if he dunks and wants to do a whatever, dude. Like, I think that was kind of blown out of proportion. It was hilarious though that like 2 games back, he just goes right back to it.
And we did get a Ja dunk on Wemby. It wasn't the poster I think everyone wanted.
Yeah,
but Wemby was in the frame and Ja kind of dunked to the side. But we did get it.
You could make a poster out of it still. We'll count it.
Oh yeah.
He's been so much fun.
He's so much fun to watch. But I don't think this is the team.
Him back up. Yeah, no, I'm not making them a contender. I needed to throw them in here because they are interesting to think about.
They're worth talking about.
They just the other team I had in here before was OKC, and OKC I think solidified last night. Like
I got in the dock early and was like, yo. The Thunder are contenders.
Thunder don't even need to be on this list.
Right, that's why. Yeah, we took them off.
I could not be higher on Chet Holmgren in my life than I am right now. Like I think he's like the places that I think Chet Holmgren could be in NBA history are not. They're not good. Like there's way too high of expectations for the kid. But just watching him, just affect everything last night, like making everything inside difficult for the Celtics. Like he's just every single game you watch him, he's always around, whether it's offense, defense. Like he is just lurking, and he's a weapon on both sides of the ball. And that's what he was doing at Gonzaga too. Don't get me wrong, but to see it kind of come to fruition, and this is the perfect team for Chet. Like he really doesn't have to handle a lot defensively because they got dogs all over the court that are just funneling everything into him. But it's crazy, man. They're perfectly built. So that's why they weren't here. The Memphis can be. I think I'm in a month I might give you a different answer and say that no matter where they're seated, they're a contender. But I'm
not throwing them in the trash yet. I'm with you on that. The Thunder and Chet, dude, like Chet, he's going to, when it's all said and done, and I'm done, talking about basketball on a mic, Chet might make me have my worst take ever be about him, because I don't dislike the guy. I just did not think it was going to translate before his rookie year last year. Obviously we didn't get to see it. And now he's just scorched earth every time he plays basketball. He's so damn good. I'm happy for him. Like I'm not upset that he's going to make me have a bad take, but there was just some games that I watched at Gonzaga. I didn't think it was going to translate. I saw him get bullied a few times on the block, and I was like, we've seen this before with huge, skinny players. They get bodied and they turn the ball over, or they just shut down.
He bulked up too.
Yeah.
What, 25 pounds this offseason? Honestly, I'm not going to say it was a good thing he got hurt, but almost kind of like a blessing for him. Like he came back like fully healthy, right? But he had that entire off season to get bigger, get stronger, learn the game, and man, dude, I know
who's the leader of the rookie? Right yeah. Who's the leader, Steve? What'd you say? Yeah. You told everyone to take that value at the beginning of the season.
Hey, that I think it was like 3-1 or something, or three. I can't remember. It was 3-1, 4-1. Chet. But also, I'll tell you right now, Vegas is shaking in their boots right now. My 80-1 ticket exact finals matchup, Celtics Thunder. They're shaking. Yeah. They watched the game last night and they're shaking because everybody was like, well, we got to wait and see with this Thunder team. No. I watched Chet every game in Gonzaga. I watched this Thunder team last year. Now it's come together like a perfect storm. this Thunder team. I know we said we weren't going to talk about it because they're a contender, but as you can clearly tell, nothing's changed with the Thunder. I'm as high on them as I ever will be. I mean, this
is how good the Thunder really are. We deleted them from the doc, and they still came up.
I had to bring them up because we hadn't mentioned enough.
It's only right.
They've been the most fun team to watch by far all year. Even last year, I think we talked about them as that too, but that's been tenfold. Such an awesome team.
And they still have picks. They still have a bunch of picks and
Too
stuff
many.
For, if they want to make trades for the future. So it's all right.
All right, we got 4 teams left here. We'll try to speed through them. The Miami Heat.
Oh, this is easy.
Yeah, I mean,
we still trust them. That's why I'm
right. Jake, what have I said every single episode this year? I am tired of being wrong about the Heat. I'm tired of trying to jump out ahead of the curve and being wrong about the Heat. Donnie, I know we talked about this in the preseason.
Yeah, I went Max Kellerman with Tom Brady in the preseason.
It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years. When the ship sinks is when I'll be off the Heat. Until that point in time, I'm just going to ride this ship until it sinks. The Miami Heat, they're just good. They're just a good team. Eric Spoelstra needs credit for how good of a coach he is because this is absurd every single year.
I still think he's the best coach in the NBA.
I don't hate that take at all. I probably agree with you on that take. Yeah. And Bam has stepped up this year. Bam, Jimmy Butler's been hurt. Bam stepped up. I know Hero's been playing well, but Bam has stepped up unbelievably, both offensively.
How about the rookie? How about the rookie?
Jaime Jaquez. We talked about it. Just a perfect fit for the Heat. And then, of course, Jaime Jaquez just fits right in with this team. I mean, Miami Heat contender. Because why? Because they've been a contender every year, and I refuse to say this team's not good. When the Heat are bad is when I will say they're bad. And until that point comes, they're contender. The Miami Heat. They're going to win 2 playoff series. It's just going to happen.
If they make a trade for a Donovan Mitchell or another star, are they the favorite in the East?
No, God.
Because Hero is their leading scorer at 23, so they would look for a score to basically.
But they also have barely had Jimmy Butler's barely played this year.
Yeah, I mean Hero's been hurt. I mean he's been out a bunch too, and out. But
they just plug guys in, and it just always works. Always.
I think they're in the market. I think they're going to be one of those teams in the market for a star coming up if whoever's available. Maybe, I mean, I don't know if it's just Mitchell. There's going to be somebody else that gets mentioned.
But even if they don't, look what Caleb Martin did in the plainplayoffs last year.
Wow,
haven't heard his name since
don't
last
even talk
season.
About it, man.
I know. I'm sorry, Donnie. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying. Dave Vincent, Caleb Martin,
Dave Vincent finesse LeBron and the Lakers so bad. He hates that guy so much now. It's
I remember I was looking at NBA player props the other night, and I look at Martin. It's like over under 6.5. I go, oh, he's back down to earth. Yep. He's back down there. So just like these guys but this happens all the time. I'm not picking at you, Donnie. I'm just saying every year these guys just kind of emerge. And we talked about Jaime Jaquez. I thought he'd be good. I mean, he third best rookie right now, right?
Yeah. Easily, I'd say.
Chet Wemby Jaquez? I don't think that's crazy take.
No.
So
I think Asir Thompson very early was probably in that spot, but
fell off a little bit. There's a couple other guys who have been going up and down. Scoot's finally starting to play well again.
He is.
But Jaime Jaquez
crazy the other day if we're talking about rookie of the year. Scoot said that he thought it was still in consideration with his name. I think that's long gone, bro. I don't think he can start.
It's a 2-horse race, Scoot, and you didn't even qualify.
Yeah,
you didn't even qualify.
He took himself out of the running the first couple weeks of the season, bro.
Scoot's best quality is his confidence, so I'm not surprised he said that.
Honestly, yeah.
But
if this is a horse race, we're taking Scoot out back after that comment. Like that. You got bum leg, Scoot. I mean, stop. It's Wemby Chat. We knew it was going to be Wemby.
It is,
but with all respect to that, Jaime Jaquez is having a phenomenal year, and I think he is the clear third best rookie right now. I really do.
Yeah, I'm with that.
And Dougie, you were the one who kind of called it. You're like, I don't want to call it, but Jaime Jaquez is probably just going to be that guy who just buys into this Heat culture.
He's cool as shit too, dude. Like I can't hate this guy. Like it's pretty easy for me to dislike the rest of the Heat roster. Spoelstra, I will never hate. I think he's the best coach in the NBA. Like I said, Jaime Jaquez is just the man, bro, and I can't do anything about it.
And he's one of those guys who just does anything you need. You want him to score one night, he will. You want to play defense, he will. You want him to pass, he will. Like the Heat just consistently get these guys that just do everything for them. It's crazy.
Yep. And we actually, weirdly enough, just to confirm this, we're all going Contender for the Heat here. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
All
to.
right, so
I have no other choice.
Oddly enough, we just all went Contender for Philly, Pretender for Memphis, Contender for the Heat. So we're all in sync right now.
Up.
And I know where Steve's at with this next one, and I'm going to agree with him. I think I do.
I'm with him. Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Oh, I'm going Contender.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
We go.
There has been some blips
lately. We're getting a little nervous. We're getting a little nervous, but no, I still think this is the best Mavs team since they.
You guys still have Grant Williams.
Yeah, I think it's the best Mavs team since they drafted Luka. I know they struggled a little bit here and there recently, but Luka's playing the best basketball of his life right now. If it wasn't for Joel MVP, I think Luka should be the front runner for MVP, and I'm probably going to argue that for the rest of the year that Luka should be MVP with some of the stat lines he's putting up. But I'm going Contender here. I know you put it in the doc that is it Siakam time? And I know I've been talking about I would love to see a deal for Siakam, and I think that will be the time to do it. Even if they don't do a trade for Siakam, right? Even if they kind of keep this team together, I think this is the best Mavs roster they've had around Luka since they got him.
If they have Kyrie, Luka, and Siakam,
I can't think about that right
now. That's disgusting.
I can't think about that. Stop it.
It's tough to get that deal done, though.
Now's the time you can think about it.
What are they giving up? Are they just selling the future at that point?
It would probably be right? No, I think it would be Hardaway, Hardy, Green, and probably a pick.
Oh.
Couple picks, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably need a couple first for Siakam.
Pascal's gonna be if Pascal is on the open market, he's the best. He's the best.
I don't think they would trade Lively. I don't think they would trade Lively, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you could get it done without doing that.
And if they trade Lively and they get Siakam and Dwight Powell starts, then I'm just done because then they lose. Everyone's scoring inside on the paint.
Dwight Powell.
You see I sent you the video. I don't even remember what day it was.
Him smacking his head on the. Yeah.
What is happening here? How do you do that? You're 7 foot. You don't know you're tall. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, that was crazy, bro. I think he heard Steve shit talking him so much. He's like, fine, I just won't play.
Good, don't play. But I will say, guys who have emerged, like Lively's played really well this year. Derek Jones has been pretty good, and Dante Exum. I don't know where he came from, but he's been unbelievable. That's why it's like originally I was like, I don't want to trade Hardaway or wait from someone. But if Exum's going to play like this, and Hardaway's one of the big pieces to get someone back, fine.
Isn't Hardaway top 2 for 6th man of the year odds right now?
Yeah, he should be.
Yeah,
he's either top 2 or top 3. I think Austin Reeves is 1 right now.
Yep, that seems correct.
But all right, let me ask you this: if we all think the Mavs are contenders, even if they don't trade for Siakam, which I agree with, and you think Luka could be the MVP? If they stayed the 7th seed, do you think he's still capable of winning it, or do you think that they need to be a certain seed for him to get that? Because I'm always curious about this. I don't really know if I have an answer. I just always assume it's like in my head when I think about it, it's usually like a top 3 seed. I don't think that has to be the case.
No, I don't think it has to be the case. I think it would be one thing. They'd have to get in the playoffs, right? They would have to be in the playoffs for it to happen. But my thing would be that I think it would all kind of rely on the 76ers' success with Embiid, right? If the Sixers can overtake Milwaukee or Boston or both, or just be a top 2 seed in the East, that's really going to help his case for back-to-back. Jokic has been playing great too, but like my thing with Jokic is he just has some games this year where it's almost like they're just coasting. He's like, I'm just going to shoot twice. It's like, okay, so that doesn't really help him because Luka and Embiid are putting up video game type numbers. And I think what might hurt Luka's case for the MVP, but might help the Mavs is Kyrie being back.
Yeah, I was just going
to say it's like that, Embiid is always going to be like, and even with Maxey there, Embiid's still going to get so much volume. He's going to get those numbers. And Luka did that with Kyrie out. But with Kyrie back, if you watch Mavs games, they will kind of stagger him sometimes.
Yeah,
Luka
that's how it needs to be, bro.
He won't play as many minutes sometimes. And obviously, they're both going to play in the clutch time scenarios, the late game scenarios. But with the Sixers, like there's no one really else. You're not going to play Paul Reed or Mo Bamba in situations over Joel Embiid. You're just going to play Embiid the entire time. And the Mavs are playing Luka kind of the entire time. Like he played, I think, 2 like entire second halves when Kyrie was out. But with Kyrie back, it gives the Mavs a little more flexibility. And I almost think, Dunny, like it kind of helps his case if the Mavs are better with Kyrie back and they kind of start winning more consistently again. But it also hurts his case because he's not going to have a 38.18 assist game. It just won't happen. So we'll see.
I think if the Mavs, even if Luka's numbers drop a little bit, I think if they finish kind of like what you're saying about the Sixers and Embiid in the Eastern Conference, I think if the Mavs finish a top 3 seed in the West, then it should be Luka's.
And I think
obviously that's a tall ask right now, but I mean,
yes.
it's definitely doable. I mean, the teams in front of them right now are Pelicans, Kings, Clippers, Nuggets, Thunder, Wolves. I don't know if they'll pass. Like, I don't think they'll get the 1 seed, but like, I think they could definitely be in that 3 seed range.
And I think Luka's getting into that, kind of category where the NBA is almost going to give him one. Like, oh, he's been so good for so long, we're going to give him one. And I think you're right, Dunny. I think they're probably going to pick the year where the Mavs are a top team in the West and be like, all right, Luka, here's your MVP.
Yeah, it's easier for them to, get as little backlash as possible when those teams are at the top of their respective.
Because let's face it now, the NBA MVP award is just like, all right, which guy's been good for a while? Like, we're going to give it to him this year.
I know.
It feels like it's that way.
And I think it is that way. And the only thing, like, I'll give a little credit to the league on is, like, it's fucking hard, man. There's so many good players.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Unbelievably good players.
Yeah.
Because like realistically, would any of the 3 of us be mad if it went to SGA, Jokic, Embiid, or Luka right now? Like, I wouldn't be upset at this.
Even
point
Giannis.
With any of those guys. And like, I'm not even gonna say Tatum. Like, I think he's a step behind them, but like, he's still like 7th on the.
Porzingis might be the best player on that team. We're talking MVP on the Celtics. Porzingis has been okay.
Impact, maybe, yeah. I mean, Derek White, if you want to, obviously, obviously.
You mean All-Star Derek White?
Yes, he's. Dude, you guys see that, by the way? I know we're not talking Celtics this episode, but he got White's an all-star chance in San Antonio. I know he used to play there, but like that's so cool. That's sick, man. Like
that's got to feel good for White too.
Yeah,
going back there, and I mean, if you want to talk about like robbery trades, don't look at the Spurs Celtics deal.
Dude, I tweeted it the other day, man. It was Romeo Langford, Josh Richardson, a first. That was the 25th pick in the draft, and they took someone who I've never heard of.
Bro, imagine Derek White with Wemby right now. Like, he'd be the perfect guard to pair with him that they are searching desperately.
But I also don't know if White would get to that point if he wasn't on the Celtics. I think
I think his life is a lot easier offensively because he's on the Celtics. So I don't know if he's ever putting up the numbers.
Dude,
but it would be.
He gets so many open shots on the Celtics. It's crazy.
You have to. Yeah, I mean, you have to leave Derek White.
And he makes the tough ones too. Yeah. But I'm just saying, on a team like that, where you got 5 guys who could score at will pretty much any night. I mean, he's just gonna get those open looks. He won't have that on the Spurs this year.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. But we won't. I'll save the Celtics talk for another day. I'm sure you guys will. You'll hear me gush.
We're talking MVP, and it's hard to have Tatum in the conversation because that starting lineup is so
good, man.
Yeah,
that's
what it comes down to. Like, there's.
I thought it was difficult.
I'm trying to think of other names to mention. Halliburton's probably the only other name.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him in MVP conversation. No, but I definitely put him there as all team.
I mean, Anthony Edwards.
Edwards is probably going to be in the combo, probably
just because of how well they're doing.
But I think it's Embiid. It's Embiid and Doncic. It really is just. It feels like.
You wouldn't put SGA up there with Embiid, Doncic.
I would right now.
I think I put him in
just the scoring a lot, and just like kind of same thing for SGA, smaller scale, but like he's been doing it now for 3-4 years at this level. All NBA SGA, like he's here, man. I
he's
would
putting up pretty much the same numbers as Luka and Embiid minus, the rebounds pretty much.
Yeah.
Like he's minus the rebounds. He's putting up kind of the same numbers. His shooting splits are great.
Yeah.
All right, let's end with the two LA teams here. Clippers, 20-12 right now. I believe where are they at? The 5th seed in the West?
They are
fourth
seed.
4th seed in the Western Conference.
Oh,
I don't know, man. This is
I know. Oh, I know.
You going Contender?
Pretender. James Harden's on the team. Next
Yeah.
question. Yeah. I will not overthink it. I like I said, I go down the ship with the Miami Heat. I will not trust James Harden. I do not care who else. You could put Michael Jordan, Larry Bird. You could put whoever you want on this team.
He's
Pretender.
the system.
Stop it. I'm done. And you know what? Kawhi's been playing great lately too.
I know.
Paul George has been good. Like no,
but
Pretender,
Paul George and James Harden on the same team
Doesn't
in a
work.
big playoff game is going to be hilarious at some
I'm
point.
good. Oh my God.
I didn't even think of that.
Dude, all the time would be just and I don't want this because I love Russ, but it's also very possible. Just a piss poor shooting performance from all three of those guys, from Russ, PG, and Harden. Twitter would have a field day, man.
And then just got Kawhi standing with his hands up, like
he's like 11 for 13 with 35. He's like, what the fuck?
He's like, what is going on? But Kawhi will never be the guy like, give me the ball. Yeah, just go through it.
But no, this is basically my school of thought right now. If Harden's on the team, I'm with Steve, Pretender. If Harden forces his way out of another team, Clippers Contender again.
Oh yeah, because then Russ starts again. I like this team. I like this team again. But right now, no. Pretender.
Jake, tell us why we're wrong. I feel like you're leaning Contender here.
I am, but Steve makes a great point that James Harden is on this roster, and I don't know if I can reconcile.
We saw the Philly Boston series last year, man. And as much as we can say, Embiid has never got to that mark. Harden was,
and Harden had 2 good playoff games.
Yeah,
he had 2 good playoff games in that series too.
And
2 really good ones,
just as bad, if not worse,
the other
than his
ones.
bad games. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like he's gonna lose you a playoff game, and you know what? And I love him. I know we love him now, but Paul George is probably gonna lose you a playoff game too.
Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah, I wanted to give him that, but I can't. I don't think they can beat this West that way.
Isn't it crazy that the 4 seed we're gonna say is a pretender, and I think we all know that, or maybe I'm gonna speak for myself here. I'm calling the 4 seed a pretender, and I'm calling the 10 seed a contender right now. I just have to, man. Look, it's LeBron, and if AD is gonna do this, then I gotta give them their flowers. I gotta give them their fighting chance. And they're probably going to make a move because every day I wake up, check Twitter, and it's the Lakers are interested in insert super good all-star type player here.
Yeah. I haven't seen Father Time get to LeBron yet, so it's like kind of the same deal. It's like if LeBron's like that, we watch the Lakers too, right? They won the play-in. They win these big, important games. They just kind of step up as a team. AD's been fantastic when he's on the court this year. And you know what? We talk about, guys on the Lakers like stepping up at big moments. No one does it quite like Austin Reeves. I don't know what's gotten into him, but it's like I talk about certain players that just kind of shine in those big moments. I talked about Jalen Brunson earlier as one of those guys. Austin Reeves is that guy for the Lakers. I got to go Contender here. I can't not, right? The run they had last year. LeBron James is still LeBron James, and Anthony Davis looks as dominant as ever right now when he's on the court. So, yeah, give me Contender for the play-in champs.
Jake, you have an opportunity
the in-season tournament champs. My bad.
You have an opportunity to throw off my entire month, or honestly, my entire new year, if you call the Lakers a pretender right now.
I really was thinking about it when I was prepping this show because it's been a little lackadaisical and everything, but no, this is they're gonna make a deal. That's what's going to happen. Zach LaVine is going to be a Laker, and AD has just been too good. When you think about LeBron has been his career average. He's 25, 7, and 7 again this year. Like that's just what he's going to put up for his whole life. But AD at 25 and 12. Like if you're having those two guys at that level into the playoffs, we know what happens. Like they were the 7th seed last year. What did they do? They go to the Western, and it was benefit of matchups and everything else. But they might have another beneficial matchup the way this West shakes out.
Yeah.
I mean, so
there's not a lot of Western Conference teams that have a guy who can slow down AD.
Yeah.
So there's really not a lot.
So yeah, I'm not as confident as I've been in years past in LeBron and AD because this roster around them. I mean, Reeves has been okay. Russell is Russell. It's not great around the supporting cast around them. So if they can swing a deal for somebody, I think they're going to be active. I think they're going to be, even if it's not a big Levine type player. But they did that last year too, and solidified the roster at the deadline.
They made some really good moves.
Yeah.
So I don't see why you shouldn't think that they're going to be active and going to be able to make some plays.
I don't know what it is, but every time I watch Lakers game, I do not see the D'Lo fit here. And he moved to the bench. Mad. He's just I don't know. It's just I don't think like I love his like unwavering confidence that he has, but it almost just like looks bad when a player does that stuff and they share the court with LeBron James. It's just like let LeBron run the show. Let him make those crazy decisions. Let him take those ill-advised shots. Not you, D'Lo. And obviously he can explode and have huge games, but I don't know. There's something about the way he plays and being alongside LeBron that's like this. Something doesn't seem right about this, and I think that's probably why he got pulled from the starting lineup. Cool defensive stat for Anthony Davis. He is one of 2 NBA players this season who rank among the top 10 in both contested 2s and contested 3s per game. The other's Porzingis. So
that's why Doug brought up.
It was a Porzingis stat, but I made it. It was a Porzingis stat that I saw this morning from a Celtics beat writer, but I made it Anthony Davis stat for the sake of this. But yeah, he's AD is just doing his thing, and I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, but he's played like I think like 75 of his last 85 games, something crazy like that.
He's 32 starts this year. And
the durability's been there.
Yeah.
But that's not when they want the durability. They want it at the end of the year.
Exactly.
We need the durability and longevity. So we'll see. We rounded out with the 2 LA teams.
They're 2 fucking different teams. Like there was the in-season tournament team that looked like a world beater, and then the rest of the season they've just been this.
But I think that's also
team, and that's on purpose.
I think they're fine coasting. I really do.
They are. What do you guys think of Darvin Ham?
He's not doing shit there, bro.
Yeah,
LeBron is the coach of that team, and Darvin just.
No, it's always so hard to evaluate a LeBron coach.
I don't think Darvin has made a single decision on this roster. I truly don't. Like he doesn't seem like he has
especially at this point in LeBron's career. Like
him benching D'Lo, that very well could have just been. Hey, that's true, JBC. And if you're listening, I got accused of just using my time to look at Celtic stats, and that is true. So
okay.
I'm not denying that. But no, I would be surprised at all if LeBron just went up to Darvin Ham and was like, yo, D'Lo's got to sit down.
That's exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's a coaches meeting. They have a coaches meeting, and Bron closes the door and sits down at the desk.
No, he has the clipboard.
He's the one who organizes. He schedules the coaches meetings.
Yeah.
He's like,
he sends out the email.
So,
Signs it best, King James.
Sends a calendar invite. He's like, all right, so it's exactly.
I think he's like Rob Pelinka probably doesn't even run this team. It's probably LeBron.
But it's also too, it's like he's earned that at this point. Like I know we're joking about it, but LeBron's earned that. If there's any player who can run,
Adam Silver's joking about it, talking about him owning a team when they win the tournament. Like it's the most wide open joke in the world that he's just doing this shit. It's so funny. So Ham's not doing nothing. There's no way Darvin Ham has any authority.
No, I don't think so. Because like when they lose, some of his decisions look crazy bad. But I mean, that could just be how polarizing the Lakers are in a LeBron-led team. Who knows? I don't want to rag on the guy too much. He's doing better than Monty Williams. All right, I'll give him that.
We got opposite end of the spectrum.
Can't wait for LeBron's player coach. Yeah.
Dude, he's been in that since the.
I know. What do you mean?
That's his second stint with the Cavs. But yeah, that's gonna do it for Contender or Pretender and our episode, guys. Thanks for sticking around for the long one. And don't forget, if you didn't hear at the top, to download the WinStreakz app. It's so fun, 100% free to play. You pick your favorite teams to win, 5 picks per day. You accumulate points, and then you win cash prizes. There's weekly winners. 100 players win cash prizes every week, up to $2,000. And with this episode and going forward for the next couple of weeks, if you download the app and you use the code HHH, you will be entered to win a $50 Game Time gift card, courtesy of WinStreakz. So all you got to do, guys, download the app, use our code HHH for a referral code when you're signing up, and you'll be entered to win a $50 Game Time gift card. The winner of the gift card will be announced not on next week's show, but the following week's show. Jake, I believe you said it was, yes, you have it right here. Thank you. For if you're just listening, it's January 17th. And that's when the winner of the $50 Game Time gift card will be announced. So WinStreakz, guys, pick your teams, accumulate points, and win cash prizes. Use our code HHH. And everyone, enjoy the start to your new year, and hopefully you don't have to tune into too many Pistons games. Had to get one last shot.